At the end of part 3, Lady Hong talks to Sheng Nan about her relationship with Lu Jin. She warns Sheng Nan that being together might make Lu Jin weaker and distract him from his important work. Sheng Nan feels sad and confused, not understanding how their love could cause problems for Lu Jin's job. Even though she's upset, Lu Jin comes back from his trip, hugs her, and asks why she didn't tell him about Bao Guo's health. He thinks that maybe his mother had something to do with it. The next day at the hospital, Ming Ting finds out that a big wine company canceled their contract because Jenny is now in charge and Lu Jin is working with her. When Lu Zheng walks in, his mother asks where he's been, and he says he was at Sheng Nan's food stall. This reminds Ming Ting that Sheng Nan is the same girl Lu Jin introduced as his fiancée at the party. There, Ming Ting asks Sheng Nan to call Lu Jin because he needs to talk to him. When Lu Jin arrives, he tries to leave, but Sheng Nan convinces him to stay and listen to his father. Ming Ting begs Lu Jin not to take over his company, but Lu Jin is angry and asks where his father was when the family needed him. Lu Jin says he's proud of his mother and admits he's waited for this moment his whole life. He refuses to back down, saying he learned how to be heartless from his father, and then he leaves. Sheng Nan watches the whole conversation. Later, Lu Jin gets angry and punches a sandbag until his hands bleed, but Sheng Nan stops him and takes him home. The next morning, Lu Jin gets a call that his father has passed away. At the funeral, Lu Zheng's mother reminds him of his father's last words, asking him to protect the company. Lu Jin and his mother also attend the funeral. Afterward, Lu Zheng asks Lu Jin not to buy the company, but Lu Jin tells him there's no room for feelings in business. At that time, he challenges Lu Zheng to prove himself if he truly cares about the company. Determined, Lu Zheng dresses up and goes to work, ready to save the business. The next day, Lu Jin is traveling abroad for work again, and before leaving, he gives Sheng Nan his card, telling her to buy whatever she needs. He kisses her deeply before heading out. Meanwhile, Lu Zheng meets a friend from school to discuss business. He tells his friend that they've acquired the company Toa and asks him to sign an agreement to guarantee that if something goes wrong with Toa, the Minong Group will take care of it. Hearing that, his friend agrees. Soon after, Lu Zheng gets a call saying that Lu Jin bought Minong shares in Vancouver to gain control of the Minong Group. At the same time, Li Man tells Lu Jin they only need a little more shares to fully own Minong, and Lu Jin asks her to look into Lu Zheng's actions, but she finds no moves yet. Later, Lu Zheng shows up at Sheng Nan's place, saying he has no one to talk to. Sheng Nan invites him in for lunch. During their talk, Lu Zheng shares that he always wanted Lu Jin to accept him as a brother. At that time, Sheng Nan promises to help but agrees not to tell Lu Jin because Lu Zheng feels his brother won't accept him until he proves himself. While eating crab, Lu Zheng suddenly gets sick, and at the hospital, they find out he's allergic to crab. As Sheng Nan steps out to get water, her phone rings, and Lu Zheng smiles slyly when he sees that Lu Jin is calling. That moment, Lu Jin was worried because Sheng Nan wasn't answering his calls, so he asked Li Man to check on things. The next day, Lu Zheng invited Sheng Nan to a car racing event at his shop. She came with Quan Un and Zhao Di. Quan Un felt annoyed seeing how close Sheng Nan was with Lu Zheng. After the race, Lu Zheng invited them to a party, and Sheng Nan agreed to go. When Lu Zheng put his hand on Sheng Nan's waist, Quan Un made an excuse that Bao Guo needed her, so he decided not to go. The following day, Sheng Nan went back to Lu Zheng's shop, where he taught her how to drive a toy car. While eating snacks, she got cream on her lips, and Lu Zheng tried to wipe it off, making her feel uncomfortable, so she left. The moment was caught on the toy car's camera. Later, Quan Un visited Sheng Nan and noticed she looked sad, asking if she had argued with Lu Jin. Just as she was about to explain, there was a knock at the door, and it was Lu Zheng apologizing for what happened. Hearing Quan Un's voice, Lu Zheng joined them for dinner. At that time, Quan Un asked Lu Zheng why he was so close to Sheng Nan, and Lu Zheng said they were just good friends. Lu Zheng gave Sheng Nan a package, and she excitedly began assembling a toy car, with Lu Zheng helping her. Then, Quan Un received a call from his wife, who was sick in the hospital, so he told Lu Zheng not to stay too long and left. On his way home, Quan Un called Lu Jin to tell him that Sheng Nan and Lu Zheng had become close. Soon after, Lu Jin called Sheng Nan and she lied, saying she was alone because Lu Jing signaled her not to mention he was there. But then, Lu Jing gets a photo on his phone showing Sheng Nan being close to Lu Jing, which makes him really angry, so he flies home immediately. When he arrives, Sheng Nan is happy to see him and gives him a hug, but then he shows her the photo. Sheng Nan explains that it was just a misunderstanding and she was only playing with toy cars. Lu Jing tells her that as his fiancée, she has to be careful with her actions, and she agrees. Sheng Nan later prepares a candlelight dinner and sends Lu Jing a photo, but he doesn't come because he's busy with a meeting. Lu Jing then meets Lu Jing and asks about the photo, but Lu Jing denies knowing anything. There, Lu Jing warns him to stop playing games and stay away from Sheng Nan. Lu Jing claims they get along well, are close in age, and even his mother likes Sheng Nan. This makes Lu Jing lose his temper and punch Lu Jing. At that moment, Sheng Nan walks in and is upset with Lu Jing for causing a scene when she had trusted him. They argue, and Lu Jing leaves. Lu Jing, acting innocent, apologizes to Sheng Nan and says someone else must have taken the photo to trap him. Later, Sheng Nan meets with Quanan and tells him what happened. Quanan admits he told Lu Jing that Lu Jing was at her house, which led to the misunderstanding. That night, Lu Jing goes to Sheng Nan's apartment and apologizes. He admits he was jealous seeing her with someone else. Sheng Nan promises not to see Lu Jing anymore and throws away her toy car. They hug, making up with each other. The next day, Zhao Di meets a rude client and feels uncomfortable. She tells her director that she won't work with him anymore. The director tries to convince her to just finish the project because she's beautiful, and even if the client acts badly, she can still make good money. This makes Zhao Di really upset. Meanwhile, Lu Jing waits outside Sheng Nan's apartment because she hasn't been answering his calls. Sheng Nan hides and only goes inside after he leaves. But when she gets inside, she finds Lu Jing already there, asking if she's avoiding him. Sheng Nan asks him to leave, but Lu Jing starts acting emotional, saying he wants to fix things with his brother and needs someone to talk to since his dad passed away. Sheng Nan feels sorry for him, so they go out for drinks. After drinking too much, Sheng Nan starts talking about Lu Jing and passes out, and Lu Jing smiles slyly. At the same time, Zhao Di is upset because people think she's willing to do anything to keep clients. When she gets home, she finds Xinjie waiting for her. Seeing she's sad, Xinjie comforts her and asks her to be his girlfriend again, so he can protect her. He proposes with a ring, promises to always take care of her, and she starts crying. Zhao Di tells him she needs her own apartment, and Xinjie agrees to use his savings and borrow money for the down payment. He offers her the ring again, but Zhao Di suggests selling it to help pay for the apartment and asks him to bring her food because she's hungry. On the other hand, Lu Jing carried the drunk Sheng Nan in his arms and drove her to Lu Jin's house. When Lu Jing saw this, he was so angry that tears filled his eyes. The next morning, when Sheng Nan woke up, she found Lady Hong watching her. Confused, Sheng Nan asked why she was there, and Lady Hong told her that Lu Jing had brought her home last night. Then, Sheng Nan asked about Lu Jing, but Lady Hong, upset, accused her of trying to get close to both brothers. She told Sheng Nan to convince Lu Jing of the truth, or she would have to leave his life. Desperate, Sheng Nan tried calling Lu Jing, but he didn't answer. At that moment, Sheng Nan decided to take Lu Jing to Lu Jin's office so he could explain that nothing happened between them. But just as they arrived, Sheng Nan almost fell, and Lu Jing caught her, which Lu Jing saw. Misunderstanding the situation, Lu Jing left without listening to her. Meanwhile, Zhao Di and Xinjie were happy because they sold the ring to make the down payment for their house. Zhao Di borrowed 5 million yuan from Quanan, and she was touched by his help. At the same time, Xinjie went to Lu Jing to ask for 10 years' salary in advance to buy a house for Zhao Di. Instead, Lu Jing wrote a check for 5 million yuan, which was more than enough, and handed it to Xinjie with no agreement, only asking him to make Zhao Di's dream come true. Xinjie was overwhelmed with gratitude, kissed Lu Jing on the cheek, and left. At that time, Lu Jing asked Sheng Nan to talk to Lu Jing and explain everything, saying they might either break up or fix things. Sheng Nan went to Lu Jin's house and told him that nothing was going on between her and Lu Jing. She begged him not to ignore her and to talk. But when Lu Jin saw Lu Zheng's car, he told her they both needed to calm down and went back inside. Feeling sad, Sheng Nan got into Lu Zheng's car and told him what happened. Lu Zheng explained that when someone says to calm down, it could either mean breaking up or working things out later. He suggested that Sheng Nan take a vacation to relax, and she agreed, but mentioned she had a turtle that needed feeding. Lu Zheng offered to take care of it, and Sheng Nan gave him a spare key to her house. The next day, Lu Jin went to Sheng Nan's apartment, but saw Lu Zheng there. When he asked about Sheng Nan, Lu Zheng told him she went on vacation because she was upset. He even threw their photos in front of Lu Jin, making him leave. The following morning, Lu Jin went to the Minong group to discuss buying the company. The board said they needed money and would sell the company to whoever offered the best price. On the other hand, the Jing group, which had taken over the Minong group, held a meeting to elect a new board of directors. At that time, Lu Jin met Lu Zheng, who acted slyly and told him that the Toa company, which guaranteed their business, was involved in illegal activities. Because of this, they had to sell the company and compensate another company owned by Lu Zheng's friend. After the meeting, Lu Jin asked Lu Zheng when he started planning all of this. Lu Zheng said that nothing happened between him and Sheng Nan, but when it came to business, he started planning when Lu Jin said there was no room for emotions in business. There, Lu Jin admitted that he had become emotionally involved because he was getting older, which made Lu Zheng laugh, thinking he had won. But Lu Jin then told him that using Sheng Nan in his schemes would come with a price. He asked Lu Zheng to sit and explain the trap he had set. He revealed that Lu Zheng's friend, who signed the contract, was also a part-time broker and couldn't be trusted. Since a new agreement had been signed, Lu Zheng's plan was now invalid. It all started when Lu Zheng dropped a drunk Sheng Nan off at Lu Jin's house. Lu Jin checked her phone and realized Lu Zheng had been calling her, trying to interfere. So, Lu Jin began planning his move against Lu Zheng without telling Sheng Nan. When Sheng Nan returned from her trip and found out the truth, she was furious for being used in the brothers' fight. She yelled at Lu Jin, who then hugged her tightly and asked her to cook for him, trying to make peace. Moments later, Lu Zheng apologized to his mother, saying he tried hard but couldn't save the Minong group. The next morning, Lu Jin and Sheng Nan woke up together, and Sheng Nan tied her hair with a spoon. Surprised, she asked Lu Jin where he found it. Lu Jin told her that he first fell in love with her when he saw her tie her hair with a spoon while cooking in Baogua's kitchen. The following day, Lu Jin met Lu Zheng and apologized for not being a better brother. Since Lu Zheng had proven his abilities, Lu Jin gave the Minong group back to him, making Lu Zheng very happy. Meanwhile, Sheng Nan talked to Lady Hong and said she planned to return to Switzerland and wouldn't come back. Lady Hong hoped her son would go with her and asked Sheng Nan what Lu Jin would choose. If he chose Sheng Nan, he'd leave his mother and feel guilty, but if he chose his mother, he'd blame Sheng Nan for losing his love. And Sheng Nan, loving Lu Jin deeply, decided to sacrifice her relationship so he wouldn't be separated from his mother. When Sheng Nan ignored Lu Jin's calls, he became worried and went to his mother, guessing she had tested Sheng Nan again. Lady Hong smiled and told Lu Jin to invite Sheng Nan to dinner, admitting she was happy with his choice. Shortly after, Lu Jin rushed to Sheng Nan's apartment and found her with her bags packed. He asked if she truly loved him. Sheng Nan tearfully replied that she loved him so much she didn't want him to have to choose between her and his mother, knowing how important his mother was to him. There, Lu Jin told Sheng Nan that she was just as important to him as his mother. He explained the conversation he had with his mother, and in the end, Sheng Nan was overjoyed to hear that his mother had finally accepted her. After that, Lu Jin brought Sheng Nan home with her things, and his mother welcomed them, saying she would cook for both of them. A few years later, Sheng Nan is about to open her own restaurant. The first guests to arrive are Xinjie and Zhao Di, now happily married, along with Ziqian and Li Man, who are dating, and Quanan with his wife. On the other hand, Lu Zheng is now running his own company, just like his brother, Lu Jin. At that moment, everyone gathers to celebrate the restaurant's opening. Lu Jin surprises Sheng Nan by putting a ring on a car-shaped cake and proposes to her. There, Sheng Nan happily says yes, and with this sweet moment, the story ends. The series ends. The moral lesson from this series is if your love life is falling apart, maybe it's time to blame the toy cars and crab legs.